Shalom, 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 yasha'Allah. This your boy, Brother Shamwa Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called Tremble Thou Earth at the Presence of Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi. Tremble Thou Earth at the Presence of Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and His only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom to all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. Like I said, today's lesson is going to be called Tremble Thou Earth at the Presence of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. All right, and I came across this this article, and I remember this when it had happened. I remember seeing it on the news. It says video shows horrifying sinkhole that screaming man was sucked into from his bedroom and hasn't been seen since. All right, now this is from the Hardy Soul. All right, and like I said, this was like some years ago, right? You see, it says 2013. Okay, so it says in the early hours of February 28, 2013, a peaceful night in Sefner, Florida, turned into a nightmare. Jeffrey Bush, 37, was asleep in his bedroom when a massive sinkhole suddenly opened directly beneath his bed. It says the event was so abrupt and violent that he had no time to escape. It says his brother, Jeremy Bush, was in the next room and heard a loud crash followed by a terrifying scream. When he rushed in to help, he found the bedroom had completely vanished. The floor had caved in, leaving behind a gaping hole filled with darkness and debris. Right, that's a cold thing, man. All right, and you see, it was his bedroom, right? Let's keep reading, right? And this is, I guess, a picture of where the house used to be, and you see the sinkhole in that right there. Okay, it says Jeremy Bush reacted instinctively. He leaped into the hole without hesitation, trying to dig through the loose earth to rescue his brother. He could still hear Jeffrey calling out and clung to the hope that he might reach him in time. As he scrambled through the collapsing ground, the earth continued to crumble beneath his feet. First responders arrived and pulled Jeremy out just before more of the structure gave way, likely saving his life. Tragically, the cries from Jeffrey ceased, and no further signs of life came from below. All right, and it's another picture. You see, and you can see right here, it's like the carpet or the floor, right? And you just see the hole, like it just completely caved in, like it was like a sinkhole, right? You know, it says emergency personnel from Hillsborough County Fire Rescue arrived with specialized equipment and rescue dogs. The hope was to locate Jeffrey quickly and pull him to safety. However, the sinkhole was vast, extending more than 20 feet across and plunging at least 50 feet deep. Officials assessed the scene and declared it too unstable for anyone to enter. The ground was still shifting, and an attempt to descend could cost more lives. Despite their best efforts, rescue operations were soon suspended, and the recovery turned into a matter of containment. Okay. It says the small, quiet community in Sefner was overwhelmed with the grief and disbelief. Residents watched from their lawns and porches as emergency vehicles filled the street. Reporters gathered to cover the unfolding tragedy. which quickly gained national attention. Neighbors expressed fear, sadness, and sympathy for the Bush family. Many were shaken by the realization that such a such a catastrophe could happen in their own backyards without any warning. The sheer randomness of the event was a cruel reminder that safety is not always guaranteed, right? And that's the cold part about it, is no randomness to it. Okay? You understand the scriptures, man, right? Yahawah Bahasham, he kills, he makes alive, he wounds, he heals. Neither is there any that can deliver out of his hand. Okay, so when the Lord wants you, hey, he's the father of spirits. When he wants his spirit back, he will take it back. Okay. Says authorities made the heartbreaking decision to demolish the Bush family home. The structure had been severely compromised and the sinkhole continued to grow. Engineers determined the demolition was necessary to prevent further collapse. Heavy machinery was brought in to knock down what remained. Efforts were made to retrieve any items of sentimental value. It says, but the risk of further cave-ins limited what could be recovered. Eventually, the hole was filled with gravel and soil to stabilize the ground, but the emotional damage was irreversible. All right, the psychological toll. It says, for the Bush family, the loss extended far beyond the physical destruction of their home. Losing Jeffrey in such a traumatic way left scars that words could not heal. Jeremy Bush later told reporters that he continued to have nightmares about that night. He struggled with guilt, wondering if he could have done more to save his brother. The lack of a body or a proper burial only intensified the grief. Counselors were made available to the family and community members, but healing could take years, if ever fully arrived. Let's see. Florida is particularly susceptible to sinkholes because it is a unique geology. It says the ground is composed of limestone, which is porous and dissolves easily when exposed to water. It says this creates underground cavities that can suddenly collapse without warning. While many sinkholes are small and harmless, others can be catastrophic. The Sefner sinkhole drew attention to the need for better monitoring and increased awareness. Homeowners began questioning the safety of their properties, and local officials explored ways to prevent future tragedies through stricter building regulations and early detection. It says footage taken in the aftermath shows the gaping void where the bedroom once stood. It says broken beams, crumbled furniture, and loose debris surrounded the edge of the hole, giving a glimpse into the chaos that had unfolded. The silence in the video is unsettling. There is no signs of life, only a vast emptiness that swallowed a man whole. That haunting footage circled widely, sparking conversations about terrifying unpredictability of nature and vulnerability of everyday life. Now we know that that's not, unpredictability of nature. No, that's Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Okay, so I just want to, I saw that article. I remember that happening, and I just want to get a couple of scriptures. Like I say, Lord's will. This is edifying, okay? This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, and verse 31. It says, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, okay? And sinkholes and the earth swallowing people, hey, it's nothing new, okay? And if you go to the book of Numbers, all right? Hey, matter of fact, let me get this real quick. Deuteronomy, chapter 32, in verse number 39, it says, see now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, I make alive, I wound and I heal, neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Okay? No one can deliver, right? So the brother couldn't save nobody. The rescuers couldn't save. Okay? Nobody can save you if Yahawashi wants you. Okay? And a perfect example, we go to the book of Numbers, right? And we're talking about like sinkhole or swallowing, the earth swallowing up people, right? We go to Numbers chapter 16, and let's go to let's start right here at 27. Okay, we're going to read it a little bit. So this is Numbers chapter 16, verse 27. It says, so they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abraham on every side. It says, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives and their sons and their little children. Okay. And what happened was, they had, one of them had taken some possessions that they weren't supposed to take. Right. And, for the sake of the rest of the congregation, they had everybody coming, and they were going to, the Lord was going to say, from this tribe to this family to these people, this is where it was found. If you got to read it, Salakia, but it says, so they got up, this is Numbers chapter 16, verse 27. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan and Abiram on every side, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives, their sons, and their little children. It says, and Moses said, hereby ye shall know that Yahawah Bahasham have sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. It says, if these men die, and I believe, Salaki, I might be wrong with that. I think this was, let me see. They were coming against Moses, right? It was the rebellion, Salakia. Matter of fact, let's see. Let's start at verse 1, right? And then we'll jump down. Numbers chapter 16, verse 1. You see it's Korah's rebellion. It says, now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the sons of Elab, and On, the sons of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and Yahawah Bahasham is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of Yahawah Bahasham. Right? So they're just like, we're children of Israel too. Who are you to try to, basically rule over us? What do they say in this word? Try to son us. Right? But remember, Yahawah Bahasham set this up. All right, so let's jump down. And let's go to verse let's see. Let's go to verse 28 again. It says, and Moses said, hereby ye shall know that Yahawah Bahasham have sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own. If these men die the common death of all men, or they be visited after the visitation of all men, then Yahawah Bahasham have not sent me. Okay? It says, but if Yahawah Bahasham make a new thing, And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit. Then ye shall understand that these men have provoked Yahawah by Yahawashi. All right, so Moses is over there prophesying, right? He's like, listen, they die a regular death. All right, then Yahawah by Yahawashi, he hadn't sent me. He said, but if the earth opens up and swallows them, right, then understand, that these men have provoked Yahawah by Yahawashi. That's a cold one. It says, and it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, it says that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit. It says, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished among the congregation. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. And there came out a fire from Yahawah by Yahawashi and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. Okay, those folks that were joined with him. All right, but the earth opened up and swallowed everything that pertained to Korah and his folks. All right, for being rebellious. Okay, so like I say, that this is nothing new. The earth opening up and swallowing people. But I just remember this is before I even came into the truth. Like I said, I saw that. I was like, man, what? You know what I mean? You like, what on earth is going on? And now you know these scriptures and you see that, man, and it's just like, hey, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. That's why I always get this. All right, but it's a true statement. Psalms chapter 119 and verse number 120, and it says, my flesh trembleth for fear of thee, and I am afraid of thy judgments. Okay, the Lord has all type. Like, you can be sleeping in your house and in your room next to somebody else in their room, and the earth open up a sinkhole and swallow your room up. Right? That's how cold Yahawah by Yahawashi is. Right? People don't understand, man. You got a lot of our people, not my God. No, you don't know the God that you're serving, man. You don't know the God of the Bible, right? His name is Yahawah. He is, okay? And his son, Yahawashi, all right? Let me get one more, right? I'm not gonna, like I said, I don't want to make this too long, but let's go, stay in the book of Psalms. Let's go to 114 and verse number 7. All right, it says, tremble thou earth at the presence of Yahawah by Yahawashi, at the presence of the most high power of Jacob. Okay? Hey, you got to tremble. All right? Tremble thou earth at the presence of Yahawah by Yahawashi, man. And guess what? The Heavenly Father, Yahawah, is going to send his son, all right, in the day of Yahawah by Yahawashi's vengeance, and it's going to shake the earth. All the earth is going to shake, and all the earth is going to tremble. Right? When Yahawashi returns, the nations are gonna wail because of him. Okay? Hey, Yahawah by Yahawashi, hey, the presence and his name will be magnified upon the earth. Okay? This was, like I say, that article, it's a new article, but that happened, like I said, 2013. I remember seeing that. I was like, what? The sinkhole, and then it was like, I think it was like a couple of years. It was like different places. There was a place in South America where there was a sink, and the sinkhole was huge, and you couldn't even see down in it. All right, the Lord will open up the earth and swallow people, man, with ease. Okay, just to say it like that. All right, but tremble thou earth at the presence of Yahawah by Yahawashi, at the presence of the Most High power of Jacob. Okay? So I just want to, just do this quick lesson. Lord's will, this is edifying. With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect, the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Mighty Shalom to the 144,000 men. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect out there. Stay diligent, stay focused, and tremble, all right, at the presence of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi and the presence of the Most High of Jacob, all right? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, all right? Understand that, all right? It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. All right. And with that, I say a ball, and shalom.